Everyone, welcome back to another tier list video. So this is actually a different kind of tier list video. Today we're doing a bit of football content. So as you can see, we've got 20 teams, and if you are familiar with football, these are the Premier League teams. These are all 20 of them. So today I am going to be doing my predictions. It's obviously random, like I'm very far behind, but I thought I'd just do it now, and I thought I'd do it today since the international break is about to end and Premier League's about to resume with a massive couple of games. You got Man City v Tottenham. You got Ruben Amorim making his managerial debut in the Premier League for Manchester United, and then he plays Ipswich. So I'm going to be having the Premier League table up in front of me because I can't remember off the top of my head. I remember a few teams, but that's about it. So let's get right into it. Alphabetically ordered, starting with Arsenal. So I'm not going to be biased with any teams as much as I can. I mean, I do support a Premier League team, but I won't be biased towards them. I'll try and make it discreet at least. Arsenal, obviously they're renowned for like that unbeaten year. I think it was 2002, but they haven't won a major trophy in 20 years. Like if you count the FA Cup, they have won some recently, but Mikel Arteta, I'll admit, has done a fantastic job of rebuilding Arsenal because they were at a really bad point in like state of period, but now they've recovered quite a lot and they're now title contenders. I mean, they're title contenders 2 seasons running. I don't know I think they're currently third, they're fourth behind behind Chelsea, sorry. But they're tied with like Chelsea, Nottingham Forest, Brighton, and it's like this league table is like very tight. So I don't know if Arsenal will catch up to I don't think they'll fall off. I don't think they'll catch up to champions. So I will be putting them more in order. So I think it won't go obviously correctly right now, but I think Arsenal will finish third. Next up, moving on to the current shock Champions League team, we got Aston Villa, and they are currently in 9th with 18 points. I don't think Aston Villa... I thought Aston Villa, to be honest, at the start of the season, they would not cope with Champions League football and Premier League football, much like Newcastle did. But they've actually surprised everyone, and they're doing really well. I think they only lost one game to Club Brugge, and that was because of a shocking penalty. But I think Aston Villa can do well this season. They are obviously 9th after 11 games, and they've got like a 0 goal difference, and they've got 18 points, and it is like really tight between 3rd and 13th. There's only a 3-point difference, I think, or 4-point difference. But no, Villa I think will recover. I don't think they'll recover too well. I don't think they'll get Champions League football again, but I think they will get 5th or 7th. I think they're going to get 6th and get Europa League football again. Next up, we got Brentford, who are currently sat in 11th, just out of mid-table. Brentford have been on a decent run of form under Thomas Frank. They have been like a shock club. I think everyone expected them to get relegated within their first season, but after like a stellar performance against Arsenal a few years ago in the opening night, they've proved themselves as a worthy opponent. I mean, they've did quite well on their first season. Their second season, they almost got relegated, but actually cost Arsenal the title. And actually might be Nottingham Forest, to be honest, I'll admit. My bad, it was Nottingham Forest. But no, Brentford are a good team. I mean, obviously they lost like big names like Ivan Toney, but they've recovered. They've got talent like Brian Mbeumo, Yohan Wissa. They've got strong defence and midfield, and they've got young talents like Fabio Carvalho and Sepp van den Berg. So I think Brentford are a team that won't get relegated for a while. They will eventually, I think, but my current prediction is they don't get relegated this season, and I'm going to put them in the 8 to 15 section. I think they will finish in 10th. Next, we've got Brighton, who are currently in 6th, also only like a few points off the top. Brighton they've been on a good run of form. They've been doing well. They've beat teams like Man City, obviously in their latest shock. And they have been giving up, they're giving tests in like cup games, like for example, nearly beating Liverpool or nearly catching them. But I don't know. They're 6th obviously, and I think if they stay that way and don't drop off, they will do well. It's just about fitness a lot in these leagues. So I think Brighton will finish in ahead of Aston Villa or not. I think they'll be behind. So I think Villa 6th and Brighton 7th, and I think Brighton will qualify for Conference League just. Next up, we've got Bournemouth. I think I've ranked them accidentally gone the wrong way, but it doesn't matter. AFC Bournemouth, I think, they've obviously had problems before in relegation. They're currently sat 12th with 15 points, just ahead of Man United. I don't know if Bournemouth will go any further. I don't think they will. I mean, if they suddenly get a great run of form going, like I think they did in the last season, they could. But like they've lost a massive name in Dominic Solanke, who obviously was probably like one of the best English players, if not the best English player in the Premier League last season. But no, Bournemouth have been good. I think they will finish ahead of Brentford. I think they will finish in ninth. If I can get Brentford to go behind, there you go. So yeah, Bournemouth 9th, Brentford 10th. Next up, Chelsea, a team with an overcapacitated squad. They have got options left, right, and centre, but I don't think the quality is there right now. They are third though, and I do think they will qualify for Champions League this season. But they're relying too heavily on players like Cole Palmer and Nicholas Jackson, Noni Madueke. They have got quality there, but there's just players that are missing. I think they need a new goalkeeper, and they need a new couple of defenders and stuff. And they've got a lot of injury crises. Like Reece James is injured again. Wesley Fofana's been injured before, and they've just splashing too much cash on quality, players that they think are quality but just are completely unheard of. So yeah, I think Chelsea finish 4th this year, just behind Arsenal. But it's good to see that Chelsea are recovering to the club they used to be after 3 or 4 years out when they won the Champions League ahead of Man City. But next up, we got Crystal Palace, a team who actually are shockingly in the relegation zone in 18th, only on 7 points with a -7 goal difference. And I'm surprised. I thought Palace would be fantastic. I mean, they lost a massive name this season in Michael Olise, but they've got quality there like Eberechi Eze, Jean-Philippe Mateta, and goalkeepers. They've got I think it's Dean Henderson or Sam Johnson's at Wolves. No, Dean Henderson. But Crystal Palace, I don't know what the heck's going on with them. I don't know if they're having an injury crisis, they're just struggling, or stamina's a problem. But they're currently behind Ipswich and Everton and teams like this, and they shouldn't be. I mean, they've been last season they beat Man United 4-0, but they've just fallen off. However, I do think they will recover. I feel like they're just going through a bad patch, and I think they will get back into form. I mean, I think they got through in the Carabao Cup ahead of Villa, so they've got that to focus on as well. That could be something that they do, maybe try and even cause an upset and win the trophy. So I think Crystal Palace climb and maybe just scrape 15th, or if they can get on a good run of form, they could get to 14th or 13th. Next up, we've got Everton, and to be honest, I'm shocked at Everton. They've gone from 2 relegation battles to suddenly a 10-point deduction and still surviving, to now fighting just in 16th with 10 points, but also a -7 goal difference like Palace. I don't think Everton will fall off. I don't think Everton will climb up. I think they'll just sit maybe 16th or rise a little. Everton have got quality players that just don't perform a bit. They've got Iliman Ndiaye, they've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Jordan Pickford, who's probably is the best England goalkeeper currently, and then you've got Abdoulaye Doucouré, and they've got quality. It's just not shining right now. So if they can suddenly get one of these players to start performing, I mean they've got players that are performing with them like Dwight McNeil and Iliman Ndiaye. But I think for now, Everton climb to 14th and just pip Palace to that spot. Next up, Fulham, currently in 7th with 18 points and a +3 goal difference. Fulham, under Marco Silva, have been phenomenal, causing upsets, challenging teams. But there's no negatives, there's no positives to this team. They've got quality all around the pitch, in defence, in the midfield and attack. Smith Rowe is their record signing. Smith Rowe has shined. And he's proved that Arsenal have made a mistake letting him go, because Mikel Arteta, I don't know what went wrong with him, but he just didn't give him a chance. Fulham 7th, I think they could challenge for Conference League, but I feel like they might just miss out and they might just get ahead, drop down in 8th. However, I don't know if they'll stay this consistency, and I think Marco Silva, a manager like that, they could definitely do it. So I'm going to put Fulham at 8th if I can. Yep, there you go. So Fulham finish 8th ahead of Bournemouth in 9th, Brentford in 10th. And then I'll decide the 11th, 12th and 13th eventually. Now come to Ipswich, probably the first relegation rival we've had. Ipswich are 17th, shockingly, out just outside the relegation zone with a -10 goal difference and 8 points. And after they getting their first win against Spurs, and now they've got Man United in Ruben Amorim's first game. But to be honest, I feel like this could be a game for them that is actually a lot easier for them than people are making it think. Obviously they're making it Ruben Amorim should win it, and if he doesn't, then it'll be ridiculous. But considering that Ipswich have just beaten Spurs, who are also a Big Six club, and are well, that's probably a massive high for them. Then I think they could scrape and actually scrape a win against Man United, and could even scrape just ahead of the relegation zone. Because I mean, like in the last couple of years, like small teams like Brentford, Nottingham Forest have all come up out of the Championship randomly, and they have stayed. Obviously, Luton Town did as well last year, but unfortunately they couldn't stay. But I think if Ipswich Town, like, they've got quality that deserves to be in the Premier League, like Liam Delap, who's an I think ex-Man City player. They got Sammy Smodics. And then they got also Premier League experience in their goalkeeper Muric, and their centre back Tuanzebe, who although I believe might still be out injured. But I think Ipswich could scrape 16th and just survive. So that's where I'm putting them for now. Now we come to Leicester City, 8 years ago I think since they won the Premier League in that shock year ahead of Spurs. And they are currently sat in 15th with a -7 goal difference but 10 points. And I honestly don't think Leicester will get relegated this year. I don't think they'll get into top 10, but I think because they've got aging players like Jamie Vardy still in their team. I mean, he's still showing form, but he will have to retire at some point, and I feel like this could be the year, unless he feels like this form is not dropping and he will stay. So I think Leicester, sadly they just lost probably their star player, or one of their star players, Fatawu, to massive injuries, and now he's going to be out for the entire season, so my thoughts go out to him. But no, Leicester got talent. They got Buonanotte. They've had talent like Maddison and Harvey Barnes, so they're good at raising talent and they are good at keeping it. But they're not so good at keeping it. But if they get some star player bursting out onto the scene like Steffi Mavididi, Jamie Vardy, keep it up. El Canus, Buonanotte, that would be good. And they've got a solid keeper, okay defence. So I think they will finish in 13th. Is that 13th? No, that's not 13th. There you go, 13th. So that's 14th and 15th. So just need 12th and 11th there. Now we come to Liverpool, currently top of the league with 28 points, 5 clear of Man City with a 15 goal difference. I don't know. It's always tough to predict the title winner at this stage in the season because, for example, now it's tough because Man City are falling off, but they could recover. I mean, they've had 4 straight losses, but now an international break, and Pep Guardiola signing a new contract, they could see it as a rebuilding period and a period to start fresh and fix things. But Liverpool under Arne Slot, I've always been worried watching them if they're going to fall off. I don't want Arne Slot to get rid of and get back, and teams like this after having a long serving manager like Jurgen Klopp, teams get back into this patch like Man United did when they just keep going through managers like they did after Sir Alex Ferguson left. If Arne Slot is taking a team from Liverpool from the reins of Jurgen Klopp, that is a phenomenal team, and they need to stay like this. And obviously, they've got the problem is they've got things on their mind like contract negotiations with players like Trent, Salah, and Van Dijk. But yeah, taking the reins from a manager like Jurgen Klopp is always a tough task. But he's in Arne Slot had a better team than the one that Brendan and Rodgers left for Jurgen Klopp. So I think Liverpool, the form they're in, and if they keep it up and don't get into an injury crisis like they did last year, I think Liverpool will be the champions of the Premier League, and they will capitalise on the falling off currently of Man City and Arsenal. Now we come to Man City, the 4-time winners. I think I'm just going to put them straight in second because I don't think there's any other position that they'll finish. Man City are probably the best team in the Premier League. They are arguably the second best team in the world, maybe, apart from Real Madrid or teams like Bayern Munich and currently Liverpool and their form they're in. But Man City are going through a massive injury crisis like Liverpool did last season, just at an earlier stage in the Premier League, with players like who's they're going out like Rico Lewis, the key Ballon d'Or winner Rodri. But not Rico Lewis, Oscar Bob, that's the one. But Man City always get into that period in February where they suddenly make a rapid recovery, and I feel they probably will at this point, but I feel like it could be that if they don't get out of this rut quickly, it'll be too little too late, and they will just bottle the Premier League. Now we come to Man United, currently sat in 13th with 15 points and 0 goal difference. I don't know how to feel about Man United because I can't really judge them currently because of the fact that Ruben Amorim has just joined after Erik ten Hag's complete flop. But I'm going to judge them from what I feel, and I feel like they are not going to do well. So they're currently in 13th, so I've said Brentford 10th. I think Man United actually finish 11th, to be honest. I know that's a shock, but it's not no bias to Man United or for any other team that rivals them. But they are going to have to they're in a transition period right now with like a new manager coming in. Obviously he's used to a smaller league in the Portuguese top division, and they've had that problem with like Erik ten Hag came from the Dutch league and he brought his style into it. Obviously Amorim has come out saying I'm not going to sign any Sporting players, but depends on who he signs. Like if he goes into the Chelsea way of just signing random players, or if he goes down the Ten Hag way, which he said he hasn't, of bringing in his own players, he might change that. I mean, obviously there's like rumours that Victor Gyökeres will go to Man United with him. I don't think he will, but no, Man United I think will finish 11th, because I feel like they're just going to take a while to get going. I mean, if they beat Ipswich this weekend, then it might be a shock that they might recover, but currently I just don't think they will. I don't want to be, I'm not being biased at all, to be honest. I think Man United 11th. I mean, Chelsea did that a couple of years ago. They went from like being good to suddenly spending loads of money, and then they fell off to 13th or 14th. So no, Man United 11th is my final prediction for them. Now we've got Newcastle currently sat in 8th with 18 points and a 2-goal difference. Newcastle are a good team. Like they've got quality, they've got experience, like the balanced experience with like Pope and Trippier, but with youngsters like Isak and Longstaff and Lewis Miley all ready to take the reins from them. I think Newcastle finish in 5th, 6th. I think Newcastle finish. No, I think Villa finish 5th, Brighton 6th, Newcastle 7th. No, Newcastle 6th, Brighton 7th. Because Newcastle, they can keep the quality, and if they keep players fit like Isak and the key players, they'll keep the form up and they'll stay. And Eddie Howe is a fantastic manager, and he knows what he's doing. And he's got all this Premier League experience with managing a relegating club like Bournemouth, and he's got all this money from the Saudi company. They're the richest company in the world, I think, with 320 billion. So yeah, Newcastle, finish in 6th. Nottingham Forest now, the shock team of the season, sat in 5th with the 5-goal difference and 19 points. Nottingham Forest probably will get to that stage where all the other teams start to shoot off and they fall off. But it's like, will they fall off or will they just keep this consistency? That's the thing. And I don't think, after looking at what I've ranked, I think Nottingham Forest fall to 8th. Did I put Fulham 8th? I think I put Fulham 9th. And then Nottingham Forest in 8th. I think Nottingham Forest will fall off rapidly, but not like as rapidly as they fall into a relegation fight with other teams. So yeah, and I'm now looking at the table and looking at the teams who are left, and I've realised I'm starting to make a few mistakes on how like teams, like I've got like big teams left, so I'll probably make a few changes at the end of this. Southampton next, and I think Southampton get relegated, to be honest. I'm going to put them there, I think 17th or 18th, because they're transitioning again. They've gone from Premier League to an horrendous season, had a championship, and they've recovered, and they only just got in though because they had the playoffs, I may remind you, and now they're back with some players that are there, but they've lost players like James Ward-Prowse, who was key for them. Adam Armstrong also is a player, and Stuart Armstrong I think still there too. But Adam Armstrong was a player who was a quality in the Championship, but then when he came to the Premier League 2 years ago, but when Southampton got relegated, he did not perform, and I don't think he deserves the plaudits. But I don't think he's doing too badly, but they need to start scoring more goals and defending better, and I just don't think they'll survive. Now we've got Spurs. Sorry, the badge cut off a little bit, but Spurs, and I've obviously ran out of top spaces. Like I got 5th, 6th, and 7th. I might drop one team down. But no, I don't think Spurs are doing too greatly. They've been doing half badly. They're obviously 10th. They're currently mid-table with 16 points. So I'm just looking at my thing: 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. So I got that. I think Spurs, I'm going to drop down a team. I think I'm going to drop a couple teams down. I think Leicester... I've changed my mind. I think Ipswich do get relegated. Leicester get 16th. And Spurs get there. I think Spurs get into the Conference League and Brighton drop to 8th. So yeah, I'm just changing as I go. I changed my prediction. Leicester City get there and Crystal Palace go relegated and Ipswich scrape it there. Sorry, I'm changing quite a lot. So yeah, Spurs go 7th, get Conference League, because they're obviously really in a bad patch. they've got class players like Son, Brennan Johnson, Dominic Solanke, Vicario, Christian Romero. But I've heard Christian Romero is now injured, but they're just not performing, and this is the problem with the Premier League. The Premier League teams have got quality players that just don't perform, so that's what they need. Teams like Tottenham need to do. They need to change it. Like Solanke's performing now. He had a struggle, but I think he'll start performing properly now, and I think Tottenham will race up suddenly and get to 7th. Now we got West Ham, and this is difficult. West Ham are 14th with -6 goal difference and 12 points, and I think they'll go mid-table. I'm just looking on 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. West Ham, I think, go... Where do I put them? Can't decide. I think West Ham finish ahead of Man United, and I think Leicester drop down. Do I think Leicester drop down? No, I'm trying to just look. No, you know what? Actually, Leicester drop down. I think Ipswich do get relegated. I'm sorry, I'm changing that prediction. No, I think Ipswich survive and Leicester get relegated. That's my prediction. Yeah, sorry, going back to that. West Ham finish in 13th ahead of Man United. 13th? No, I don't think. Wait, let me look. 15th, 14th, 13th. Man United, 15th, 14th, 13th, 12th. Man United up there. Right, Man United 11th. No, Man United 12th. Yeah, behind Bournemouth. Sorry, I'm changing a lot about this. Yeah, sorry. West Ham got quality like Jared Bowen, Danny Ings, James Ward-Prowse. James Ward-Prowse went to Nottingham Forest. But they got youngsters like Bowen, Somerville, and they've got experience like Fabianski, Dawson. Oh, Dawson's at Wolves, isn't he? Oh, I don't know. But yeah, West Ham solid 14th. They don't get relegated. They don't get Champions League or anything. They just sit there. Which leaves one, which is Wolverhampton Wanderers. So we got 14th, 13th, 12th, 11th, 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. I looking if I 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Sorry, I'm confused on what I've done, but Wolves. Any teams get up? I think I've laid this out right. I don't know where Wolves finish. I've realised what I've done. Sorry, my bad. I'm just going to sit there for now. I've accidentally just counted it wrong. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, my bad. I've miscounted. I thought there needed to be 4 teams in there. So yeah, Ipswich finish 15th. Well, have I done this wrong? I'm confused myself. Ipswich finished just ahead of relegation zones. Yeah, relegated is Leicester, Crystal Palace, Southampton. I'm sorry, I zoned out for a second there. Wolves come 15th. 16, 17, yeah, so Ipswich. Right, yeah, there we go. That's what it is. I keep thinking 16th is just ahead of the relegation battle. I am so sorry. I've messed that video up slightly. Southampton 20th because they're not got the quality, and I don't think they're ready for the Premier League this season. They just fluked in. Crystal Palace 19th. They got the quality like Jean-Philippe Mateta, Eberechi Eze, but they need to start performing, and I don't think they will. Leicester 18th because they have got too many old players. They got old players like Vardy, but they've got youngsters like Buonanotte, but they've let like key players like Maddison and Dewsbury Hall go, and that's a problem. Like Dewsbury Hall did not need to go, and he just has. But I'll see how it goes with like Leicester if they relegated or survived. Ipswich in 17th, just. I think they scrape one more season and maybe get relegated next season. Wolves 16th because they got like a good coach in Gary O'Neill. Is that right? Yeah, Gary O'Neill. But they have got just problems currently. Am I going to change that? No, you know what? Sorry, I'm changing it one more time. Leicester, Wolves drop there. Leicester finish 16th. Wolves don't have enough quality. They don't have the quality like Leicester do. Even though I've just gone on a rant about how Leicester don't have quality. But Everton finished 15th because they are performing, and I think they are just going to perform at that kind of level for a while. Maybe they rise, maybe they fall, but I don't think they'll like do either. I think they're suddenly just that team that just sit underneath mid-table and don't change. West Ham the same, 14th, but they can get if they cash in. They got the choice of cashing in on quality players like Somerville and Bowen. Even I think Somerville they won't because they've just bought him. Bowen they could because there may be a bit of interest, but for now, no. Brentford, yeah, Brentford will come 13th because they've got the quality that can get them there with Wissa and Mbeumo, who's obviously they're all performing. Man United finished 12th because they don't have much quality. They need to they have quality in players like Fernandes, Rashford, but they need this manager to be good. And if he doesn't, because he's got to get used to the Premier League after 11 games in, and if he doesn't get ready quick enough, then there'll be a big problem. And I don't think he will, because he's transitioning into probably the toughest league in the world from an easy league. Bournemouth 11th because they've got a good manager in Iraola. They've got quality in who else? They've got Semenyo. They've got what's his name? Sinistera. And they've got like Kepa, who's obviously got Champions League experience, so they will finish 11th ahead of Man United. Fulham in 10th because they've got Marco Silva, a fantastic manager. They've got experience from big teams like Bernd Leno from Arsenal. They've got a good striker. They've got Smith Rowe from Arsenal as well, who's performing well. And they've got like Harry Wilson, who also played from Liverpool. So yeah, Fulham in 10th. Nottingham Forest in 9th because they are obviously in fifth currently, but they're going to fall off at some point because you've got to keep this consistency if you want to finish in the top, and I don't think they will. I don't think they'll drop off like completely, so I'm going to put them there in 9th. Brighton finished 8th because Brighton are also, I think, will drop off, but not far. I think they'll just drop down 2 positions from 6th to 8th because they've got experience like Danny Welbeck, and they got like Evan Ferguson, who's a rising talent, and they got like Bart Verbruggen. They've got Enciso, so they've got youngsters for the future who could perform and could even carry them to a title or something if they keep them. Spurs in 7th in the Conference League because Ange Postecoglou, he's done a good job for now, but he's struggling, and I don't think he can recover it right now. So maybe they have to get a new manager in at the end of next season, or end of this season. But for now, no, Spurs just climbed to 7th and then get Conference League. So they get Europe at least, because currently they're struggling. I mean, they have got Europa League right now. So if they go focus on the Europa League, they could win a trophy. Newcastle 6th, I think they'll qualify for Europa League again. They haven't had Europe in a while, and I think this is the time where they rise and catch up again and do it all over again, and they get European experience. But whether or not they keep this consistency if they get Europe next season is the big issue, and I don't know if they will. Villa in 5th, I think the Champions League will affect them, but because it has obviously currently in the last game against Club Brugge, but I don't think it'll affect them fully because they're a good team and they've got lots of backup like Watkins, and they've got Duran for him, they've got McGinn, they've got Bailey, they've got Martinez, probably the best goalkeeper in the world. They've got centre backs like Mings, although I don't know if I should mention him after what happened. They've got Pau Torres, Alberto Moreno, I can't remember, Alex Moreno, that's the one. So yeah, Aston Villa 5th, Chelsea 4th. Because they've got loads of players and they can perform. They've got loads of youngsters. They built a young squad for the future, which I think will start performing eventually. But relying on players like Palmer and Jackson and Madueke to perform will come to cost them at some point. But I feel like they'll scrape 4th. Arsenal 3rd because they're in a massive fight with Liverpool and Man City, and I don't think they'll survive, considering that like Liverpool are in such good form right now, and so are Man City are dropping off. If Arsenal can scrape 2nd, that would be fantastic for them, even though they finished 2nd twice the last 2 years. But for now, I think they'll drop off just to 3rd, and they'll get Champions League at least, so that's good. Man City 2nd because they're in this massive bad patch, and the key players like Rodri are obviously out for the rest of the season, so they're going to have to survive off like rations with like Kovacic. But they will get that. I think they'll get that good period again where they get to February and they just suddenly fly and catch up. But I don't know if it'll be enough, because I think this season it'll be Liverpool who win the Premier League, because I feel that they'll capitalise on the mistakes that Man City are making, or the errors that Man City have got, or the crisis that Man City have got. That's the word. Because they're in a good patch. They just need to keep these players fit. They need to sort of contracts. That's the thing. They can't focus too much on contracts, because if they focus too much on contracts, it'll affect the players, and that could cost them the league. But for now, Liverpool, I think, will win the Premier League. Whether or not they keep the consistency up in like the Champions League, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup is another matter. If they get lucky draws with smaller teams in the FA Cup and Carabao Cup, even though there's probably none left in the Carabao Cup, then they can rest players and take the opportunity to keep fitness up. But that is my completed Premier League table. Thank you very much for watching. I know this is an incredibly long video, but I'm glad I made it. I thought it would be good to get another tier list video out, and it's my first football video properly. Let me know below if you'd make any changes to your league table. And thank you all very much for watching, and have a good evening.